Hello, and welcome back to the Avedama Select server. I am Karakangar, and this is my next Let's Play. So I am here at the side of my Harvest Temple, and I've got this beautiful temple here, and this ugly stairwell that just looks like it's not really part of it. And I haven't really known what to do with the stairwell. I had some basic ideas, but I didn't really like them. And I finally figured out what to do. My problem was I was seeing the stairs almost like a separate build from the temple in my mind, and now I've got it kind of an idea of how to bring it together as one cohesive build. So what I want to do is start off with maybe this level and bring it out just a little bit from the side of the stairwell and make it look like these levels are wrapping around the stairs. So then the next one, this will come out even farther and come out to maybe in here somewhere. And then this third one will probably come out from this area and wrap hopefully all the way around this front piece right here. Oops, I just broke some grass. Oh well. And I think that'll really bring the stairwell together and make it look like it's part of the temple and not just the stairwell that I built on the front of the temple to get up to the top, which is what the reality is. I also did some work on moving these columns around so that they're more evenly spaced over the top of the arches, which would be where the strong points were. And I think that really helps it look a little bit better. Come on, let me fly. Look a little bit better, even though most people won't really notice it. I want to take and add some vines and some of the leaf blocks and make it look like the whole temple's kind of being overgrown. There'll be more of it down at the bottom and it'll become more sparse as you get up towards the top. And that'll just really help make it look like this place has been, abandoned and unkept for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So I've completed the integrating the stairwell into the temple, and I think it really turned out amazingly. You're going to hear me say amazingly a lot because I am absolutely loving this building and this build overall. So I've gone through and done most of the detailing of the walls here. I've still got a little bit left to do, mostly around the back side and over on that side, just on this bottom floor. And the detailing is using the cracked stone bricks, the mossy stone brick, and just straight stone. And then occasionally I've got some stairs in there to make missing stone brick, or where bricks have just like falling out and been lost over time. And I think it's really adding a lot of character to the place. And then on top of that, I'll show you as I get up to the top of this. Oh, I've got some bricks missing out of the stairs too. But sometimes the bricks are falling and landing on the ground. Other times they've been lost to the ages, just like swept away by the wind or rain or whatever. And then I've been adding these vines and these bushes in here, and it's really bringing this whole place together. So you can see I've also got the inside of this area all detailed up, and I did it mostly just by adding in some arches here and bringing this floor out from this level over to the side. I also did some of these cutouts over here that I started off doing on that over there that I haven't introduced yet. And these are just really simple, made with stair and upside down stair, and they just add more texture and variation to the walls, so it really adds a lot more depth to it. And then if we come up inside, I've also filled in this. This is probably just a temporary thing, and I'm probably going to replace this floor, but I wanted it to be complete, and I also need to fix up the walls and do a detailed interior when I actually decide what I want their religion to be like, because I think I'm going to do some sort of like religious ceremony or something going on in here with armor stands, and really try to play with those to really bring more life and vibrance to the world. I think this just came out amazing. It really integrates the stairwell in and makes it look like it's part of the temple, where before it was really feeling like two different pieces. and it's easier to see if we go over to the back side over here because I've got a little bit more of the work done. Here you can see I've got a lot more of the overgrown bushes on the back and vines and such, and the green is just doing a lot to add color to this gray build, and the vines and bushes are, the bushes especially, are breaking up these harsh solid lines of the temple, and it's really making this look a lot better. It's so characterful, and it's also adding a lot with making this giant temple that was just standing out before really match up with this overgrown terrace area around it. Now the temple's all overgrown and it's really coming together as being one giant build. And then that's all coming together with being grown into this whole area. So we're here underneath of the palace, and I've been doing a lot of work on the harvest temple and putting out tons of vines, and I've gone through my entire vine stockpile. So I harvested up a few more and came over here and made myself a quick and basic vine farm. It's basically just a bunch of vines on the walls, but from doing some research, this actually is the quickest way of getting vines, is harvesting them manually. However, I'm going to, in the future, before I start another one of these big temple projects, have to make an AFK vine farm so that I can let it work overnight for me. It may not be as efficient, but 6 hours of doing it overnight while I'm asleep is a whole lot better than, 4 hours of doing it myself, especially with having the AFK. So I harvested up all 3 walls here, and you can see down on my hotbar I've got 3 stacks plus 52, so that's pretty good, and it only took like 2 minutes to do the whole thing. Well, I've been over there working on my harvest temple, and I have the dispenser shut off so that it can't shoot weed over here and overwhelm the system while the redstone is partially unloaded, because it's an unloaded chunk of the world. But the melons don't actually go through that dispenser, they just drop straight into the water stream. And I had the smart idea of coming over here and checking it this morning. And it's a good thing I did, because the dispenser and all of its backup storage here is all empty. And I caught it just in time. You can see right there, there's one shulker left in the system being loaded. And all of these shulkers full of melon slices. So I emptied out my inventory and I am crafting myself up some melons here. So I've got all of the melons crafted up, and I ended up with about 57 stacks. So that is 2 shulkers and a few to go in here. So that all went well, and I really did catch it just in time. I caught the redstone, or checked on the redstone, everything's working back there great. So if that shulker right there had been filled up and broken, then the whole system would have broken and I would have had to tear all this apart. It would have taken at least half an hour, as a whole bunch of unnecessary work that I did not want to do. You might notice this little line right here, that's string on the ground. And you can see the hitbox around another piece of string here. And what that's doing is controlling the height of how far these vine blocks can grow. Because if this stuff just grew all over the place, all the way down, it would look terrible. But by using the string to control how far it can grow, I'm basically manicuring the vines so that it's at a level that I want it to be at, and that I can control the overall height to something that looks good. I might throw another piece of string right there. Because if it all grows down to this height, then it ends up looking terrible, because it's all just like the same height, there's no variance, nothing special. So here you see that there's just one leaf block. It's because I left the last piece to do live on camera. Mostly just so that you guys could see how I was going about doing everything. Alright, let's get some stuff in the inventory. And we'll break that leaf right there back out. Because, ow, this leg is killing me. Okay. Usually start off by breaking out a couple blocks and throwing in some dirt that built up on its over time. You know, wind and rain and everything are going to be eroding and pushing dirt up here. And that gives something for plants to grow in. And it's entirely just aesthetic, and because I feel like it. I could do this entirely without the dirt and it would make just as much sense because you can't really see it, especially after I'm done throwing leaves everywhere and there isn't a whole lot of space. So I tend to fall off there a lot. I want that there. And we'll break out that one and throw some more leaves in there. And you see I'm using both spruce and oak leaves, and that gives me a variety of color to it and just adds a little bit to it. It's probably pretty hard to tell after I add all the vines all over everything, but still, I like to do what I can. Alright, so now I'm just like coating everything in vines, mostly just kind of to help give these leaf blocks the same appearance as the vines and make it look like they are giant vines or giant masses of vines. And then I'm throwing some around on the walls and like I said, not a lot of space, I fall off constantly. Alright, so I throw some vines out on the walls and keep control of where they're growing at. And that way it makes it look like they're spreading out. And that's a really helpful thing to making this all look real. So we'll go like that. I think I want the vines limited there. Alright, and okay. Alright, so this top area right here is pretty easy. But now we've got all these vines growing down. So I can either put out more vines or I can AFK and let them grow on their own, which is probably what I'll do. Let's throw some more vines around here. Let's go there, there. I don't want that. It's easy to mess up and break the grass. Don't want those growing down too far. I'll have that there. And that can't grow down because it's already got the grass block there. And now these vines are going to grow down and they're going to start connecting to this. So I'm actually just going to cover this in vine blocks or vines also, so that it can just match right in and look like it's kind of like it's part of that thing growing down. All right, and let's go with oh, I didn't vine there. Okay, if I let this grow all the way down, it's going to grow down and match up with this. And if I try to block it off, I'm going to either have to pop off those vines. You know what? Let's just break the vines off this thing entirely. Because if I let it grow down too much, it's going to look bad. And everything that limits it is going to be messing up this anyways. So we'll just make it so that it can't actually grow onto there. Let's see, we've got that one stopping there, that one over there stopping there. Let's go out to there, and then we can pick that one back up. And I think that's it, although, oh, I can't put a vine there because it's not a solid block. So yeah, so let's stick a couple vines off to the sides here and make it look like it's growing. And that's done. Alright, so as I keep playing, the rest of these vines will grow down and look natural. As you can see, things have changed significantly. So, I have got this thing all done now, and it is looking amazing. Ooh, that vine's going down a little bit farther than it should be. Anyways, so first off, I moved the beacon beam down to here, made a little well, and going in and out of there is actually my current entrance into the inside to get to the farms and such. And we'll go take a look at those in a minute because I expanded some of those over the winter break. As you can see, it's done all the way around. I'm probably going to come back through and add some more just standalone vines, but I'll do that off camera. And yeah, this whole thing is done. I just have left to do with the making a scene inside, but that's something that I'm going to tackle later on when I come up with more of an understanding of what I want the religion to be like. This is the current hidden entrance into the farming area inside of the Harvest Temple. Originally, I was thinking of making it up there inside of the main temple, inside of the room at the top of the temple. And then I realized if I did that, I'd have to run up the temple, open up the secret stairs, run down the stairs, do whatever I wanted in here, run back up and back down, and that just sounded like a lot of work. So I just made that quick secret entrance right there, and that's coming in and out very nicely. And yeah, much better. So the carrot and potato farms up there have been producing so much that I had to shut them off, and I've got enough carrots and potatoes to feed the entire server for the rest of the time that we're playing. But the wheat farm only produces about half the rate, so I went ahead and made a second wheat farm over the winter break. And you can see my new villager down there, he's going great. The minecart comes up from underground right here and just goes up to this minecart unloading station. There it went. And that unloads, and these hoppers feed it right into the same redstone as the existing one, so it uses all the same materials there and saves a lot of production. You might also notice that there's a couple new farms here. So my melon farms that I have over in the villager trade over there, they're running great, but because it takes 9 melons to make a full melon block, they end up producing a lot slower than the pumpkin farm does. So I went through and made another 64 stalks of melons here in another farm. And aside from not being a stacked version, it's the exact same. So real quick, the observer sees when the redstone grows, or sees when the melon stalk grows, and then it causes the pistons on each side to punch out and break the melon blocks and push it into the water. And I think there was some floating melons somewhere, because sometimes it doesn't always get knocked into the water appropriately. But the observer powers this block, which powers the redstone on each side, and then that powers the piston. And it's super easy and simple, but very effective. And then here we have a cactus farm. And this is 2 layers of cactus. Oh, you can see one just popped off. I think it got lost. But each layer is 32 cactus, so there's 64 cactus in total here. And what happens is they grow up, but cactus is a little bit bigger than a block, so it tries to inhabit the same blocks as these glass panes do, but it can't do that. So it pops off and hopefully falls down into the water. Sometimes it pops off and lands on the cactus and it's destroyed. It's very hard to make a lossless cactus farm, and the ways that you can do it are way more resource intensive than the actual need for a lossless cactus farm is. So I didn't bother with making that. But stuff falls down, lands in the water, and then spins around. It's kind of fun to watch. Just go around and around, and that falls down, falls through the second layer and into water streams, and that takes over and puts it away at the Harvest Temple. Sorry, not the Harvest Temple. We're in the Harvest Temple. That puts it away in my storage temple over there. There's one going now. So that is producing about 2 stacks per hour. And while I was working on finishing off this place, I've collected up several double chests now, so I've got pretty much all the cactus I'll ever need. I'm actually thinking about installing some sort of an on-off switch so that it stops sending cactus out and sends it someplace to be destroyed instead. Ooh, if I put down the water streams, I could drop it straight onto a cactus and let it destroy itself that way. That's a good idea. Anyways, so the harvest temple is all done. I'm super excited, and this thing just looks absolutely amazing. It is by far my favorite temple. But now the downside is this storage temple over here. It's having a few issues. I don't like the glowstone in the walls that I had to do in order to light it up and prevent mob spawning. And I also don't like that it doesn't have the terraces around it like this one does down here to get it up away from the floodwaters. And then, most importantly, it's awfully plain and clean looking. It doesn't have the same aesthetic that this one does, with all the vines and the overgrowth and the detailed surfaces. And so I'm thinking I'm going to tear that apart soon and rebuild something very similar, but with the terraces and made out of stone bricks so that I can use half slabs. And yeah, maybe a few less lights up there. Or maybe have some of them burnt out. That's a good idea. I like that. But I also think I might redo something different with the stairwell right here, or the entrance. Because I don't feel like this entrance is really fitting with the aesthetic of the temples that I'm building. So, that is a challenge I'm going to have to figure out. There was one more exciting thing that happened just a few days ago. I finally got a second trident. And this time, I threw on Riptide, which is surprisingly hard to use when you're in third person. But with this, combined with the Elytra, it does amazing things. Like, in the ring, was flying like 1,000 blocks away from the base with one charge of this thing. It is just crazy. But this trident will make it a lot easier to get into the air when I am having server issues. Because if I do that, I should be flying. Nope, it didn't do it. Alright, let's try this again. Into the air and fly. There we go. I just had to spam the spacebar a little bit. And now I am in the air without having to worry about trying to get out of the water or jump off of something when I'm lagging. I can just use the trident to leap me up out of the ocean. I am so happy to have this harvest temple done. It looks fantastic and it's just so amazing. Even if it means that we have to step up our game on the other temples over there in the distance. We can do it. Alright. We got a lot of good work done in this episode, and even found ourselves a new toy, and I'm looking forward to playing with it more in the future. But for now, our time is up, and I hope you have fun gaming.